It's been a few weeks, but we are ready to uncover the Skoda Octavia VRS3. Because lurking under here is my, oh, there's a bonnet, fantastic. Is my Skoda Octavia RS Daza swapped engine with a lot of wiring. But today, guys, we are going to go for a first road test with this car because I've got my mechatronics unit back, which means it's now been deimmobilized, which means it will now go into drive reverse and we can go for a spin. So we need to obviously do a lot to get to that point, but we are going to be going for a first drive in this video. Now, whilst we've got the car on the ground and before we put it in the air, I thought I'd best tackle the gear selector first. So if we just jump in. Now, this is obviously the Skoda one, which is all in position, and I've just removed the trim that goes around it. And as you can see, look, the bolts are right under here, and they're also under that air vent here. So annoyingly, we've got to remove the center console just to be able to undo the bolts, which you can see here. This is the RS3 gear linkage, and it links with the ECU, and we need that purely because I think mostly because of the connection here, because obviously this connects to the DQ500 box and the Skoda one's different. I think they're different length, I'm not 100% sure, but we need to swap them. That is what I know. So while we've got it on the ground, we're going to remove the center console, get this out, and when we get it up in the air, then we can replace them. Removing the center console was actually pretty straightforward, but like everything, until you do it for the first time and you know where all the bolts are, it takes forever. And in this case, there was just two hidden bolts under some trims that I didn't know we could move, and that's what held me up for a while. But once we got it out, it's absolutely fine. Next up, we're going to take off the exhaust, and that was pretty straightforward too. It's resting on nothing at the moment, just hopes and dreams. Told you. We did it though. So the Skoda selector now out, we've got it next to the RS3 selector, and we can kind of see the very subtle differences. Luckily enough, the main lower frame, the bit that's connecting to the car, is identical, the lower body. And you can see it's the same length, but the connections are very different, and the way they connect to the gearbox is very different. Now, I don't think that these cables are interchangeable. I've just had a look, and they are just completely different going in there as well. So the only real thing I'm concerned about is that the RS3 unit is quite a bit higher than the Skoda, so I don't know exactly if that's going to be a problem yet, but I'm not worried about that yet. So we're now going to get it into the car, bolt it up, connect it to the gearbox. Hopefully the CAN bus and everything will all recognise and be good, and it will work. Now, the tricky part is actually going to be getting this in here, because I'm going to have to hold it up while I can get to the top of the car and then fit a bolt. No, that was the last hole.
Hello.
Hello. Ah. My mother has come to the rescue. Can you hold that in there, please? Can you hold like that, like that? And I need to put a bolt in the top. Move too much. All good? Yep. And guys, I just thought I'd mention quickly, the SVR competition, the F-Type, ended last week, but the winner decided to take the cash alternative purely because he had a couple of kids, and obviously that's no use for the F-Type. So he took the cash and he's gone and bought himself a bigger family car. So that means that the SVR, guys, is now back on for Compete for Cars, and I've completely slashed the odds. It's half the amount of tickets, and also I'm going to throw in £2,000 cash as well towards insurance to incentivize you to obviously take the car. Now, there is still going to be a cash alternative, £20,000, but obviously I'd rather people take the car, but obviously understandably you're more than welcome to obviously take the cash as well. It's completely up to you. But the car is now back on Compete for Cars, guys, and it's also just in the body shop, so I can't show you at the moment because I'm getting the bonnet and the door fixed. So I'll put a few clips up here if I have it in prep. But yeah, go grab your tickets, guys. I'll put the link in the description, and good luck. So that's the gear linkage cable all in position now, and it has fit on absolutely perfectly, so we're all good for the fitment. So now I'm going to go ahead and change the oil filter for the DSG box. We're going to put the mechatronics back in, connect it all back up, fill it back up with oil. I'm going to connect the battery, and we're going to go through the fault codes, just test the gears all work, and give it a start. To refit the mechatronics, I literally just had to remove the pan, which was the 4 screws, put the mechatronics back in, put the pan back over the top, and then just put the clip for the DSG electrical connection back on. Right, that's now the mechatronics all back in and the proper gearbox plug-in. There's no oil in the sump of the gearbox. I've just put the 8mm like filler tube back in, so now I'm just going to pump it full of cheap DSG oil and a filter. We're going to flush it around, probably get it up to temperature, drop it, and put new fluid in again, just to make sure all the oil in the gearbox is all good. Another thing we need to do is this drive shaft. Now this is the one that came out the original DQ500 gearbox, out the RS3, but when I pulled the gearbox and engine out, I think I pulled the CV joint out because it doesn't sound good. So I think we've got a couple of ball bearings loose in there, so we need to take the CV boot off and just see what's going on. And there we go, look. See if we can, there we go, look. One of our bearings, roller bearings, has fallen off at the top. See this one here, look, it's missing. And that's because it's sat in here. Oh, for Christ's sake, I'm making a right mess. Luckily, the roller bearing coming off like that is an easy fix. We can just knock it back on, and that is problem solved. And to do that, we'll just get our little copper hammer. There we go. That's back on. All 3, all good. Now I'm just going to pack that out with a bit thicker grease, and we're good to put back on. Just squirt a load of grease down the end there, if you probably can't see it, but and then just squeeze, push it right down the end, get in the grease. And I just need to find another, obviously, strap for that, but there we go, look, that sounds a lot better. Had an absolute result. I managed to find the exact right clip, brand new, in my old toolbox from when I used to work at Audi, so factory clip going on. Beautiful. Try and feed this in. And there we go, that's the drive shaft in. All good. Right, so I've got my cheaper transmission fluid, which I'm gonna put in because we're gonna basically just run up to temperature, and then we're gonna change the fluid and oil filter again, just to make sure everything is clean. Because obviously this is the flooded engine and gearbox, for those of you that haven't seen this series before. So, I need to start the engine now to circulate the fluid round the gearbox, because at the minute there's no oil around the gearbox like there would normally be. It's all in the pan now, so it's just coming straight back out. So I need to circulate it, get it out the pan into the gearbox, then I can put more oil in. The trouble is, I can't leave this connected. How much is coming out? Yeah, it's just going to come out. I need to block that up somehow. Might work. There we go. No. It's coming off. Oh, stop being awkward. Just stay on, you annoying. So I've just reconnected a battery. I've just run some diagnostics. We do have loads of, we're gonna have loads of codes. We have an engine change. It's just communication with brake system mainly, gearbox and engine, which is all I'm really concerned about at the moment. So that's fine. Obviously we've got some oil in the gearbox. That's the reason we now need to start the car so we can cycle the fluid around the gearbox. And also it should hopefully let us put it into drive because it is recognizing it's in park. So that's a good start. Now, if it lets us put it in drive, front wheels will turn. Hey presto, we can go for a road test. Right, so I'm gonna start it up now. I'm gonna put it into drive and you'll be able to see from my other camera whether the front wheels are turning because I can't. Oh. Okay, why is it not turning on now? Now the engine wasn't turning over and I know it turned over in the last video, which was a month or so ago, but I've changed nothing since, so I couldn't really work out why it wouldn't now be turning over. I did check the codes and it did say starter mechanically blocked. So I couldn't really find anything wrong with it. However, when I was shorting out the wire by putting a 12-volt feed in here, it still wasn't turning over, it was just clicking. So I kind of thought, well, it must be the starter motor. So it could just be my luck. It was the original starter motor off the car, so it was a flooded starter motor, so it could be an electrical issue. Luckily, I had, this is the old one, I have just fitted a new one. I had ordered a brand new RS3 starter motor that was just sat in the one of the containers. So I had it to hand, so I have just fitted a brand new starter motor. I have just tested it quickly by shorting out the starter, and it did start to turn the engine. So just my luck that the starter motor failed, but also my luck that I had a brand new one ready to fit on. So that is good. I can now just plug this back in here. And now we can again try and start the bloody thing. Right, take two. Oh, that is loud. Oh, she's loud. Let's get it into drive. Are the wheels spinning? I don't know. Are they? No, not really. Oh, it's very loud in here. No, not spinning. Okay, right. Oh my God, it sounds awful. Yeah, that's the reason it was very loud. Here's my decat downpipe. That is the only thing on the engine exhaust-wise, so absolutely no resonator whatsoever. Good news is though, the wheels did try and turn, but I do have to remember I have only got about 1.8 litres of fluid in the gearbox at all, and it should have about 6. But the good news is I cycled the gears, I put it in drive exhaust, oil should have pumped around the gearbox now, and as a result of that, there should be nothing coming out of here anymore. Perfect. Right, so now I can pump in the rest of the fluid and then hopefully the wheels will start turning. Right, so I've now just pumped the rest of that 5 litre can in, so there's now 5 litres of oil in the gearbox. Now I'm gonna take this bung out and just put the sump bung for it straight in. Loads of oil is gonna come back out purely because the engine is supposed to be running when you top the oil up, which means there's meant to be oil around the gearbox. Now as it stands with the engine off, it's just sat in the sump, so it's going to overflow. So I just need to quickly seal it off to lose as little oil as possible. He says, oh, this is awful, I've done this terribly. Come on! There we go. So now hopefully the gearbox will work, but I can't now test it until we get the engine running properly. And to do that, I need to get some coolant in the system so it doesn't ruin it. And to do that, I need a radiator and sort of a front end. Now this is the original front end off the Skoda, which has the slam panel, and obviously it's damaged, and a condenser and an intercooler. This is the rad pack and the front end I took off the RS3. I'm hoping to transfer over everything from here, but unfortunately it can't fit inside the RS3 slam panel because the RS3 has two latches, for example, where the Skoda just has the one in the middle, as you can see here, and it's just a different design, so it's not going to fit. Introduce a new slam panel. This is a new Skoda Octavia VRS slam panel, and I'm going to try and fit everything of the RS3 inside of that. I hope it works. I have no idea if it is or not, but it's my only play. So I just needed to remove the condenser from the old unit, take the crash bar off, which was just 4 bolts, and put it onto the new unit. And then somehow we've got to fit the RS3 rad pack back in. You got these clips here, and you're meant to push these in and then push them down, but they just, I don't understand how you're actually meant to do them because they're so tight. The ones on the Skoda are much better because there's just a little bit in the middle and you just put a bolt in it, which I'm going to do. I'm going to use those ones because I hate these tabs. Push out now. There we go. Much easier way of doing it. And just to show you the difference, look, that's the one where I've just broken the tabs, and this is the Skoda one, look, where it's just got the bolt, so you can just screw the bolt straight in. Much, much better. Now, the good thing, because it's VAG, everything kind of interlinks, so the rad pack fit perfectly in the Skoda VRS's frame, but there are some problems because it is a bit of a snug fit, and we are going to have to make some adjustments, which you're going to see in a moment. Now, I do have an issue. I'm hoping it's not going to be a massive one, but if you can see, the slam panel's straight and the radiator's tilting this way a little bit towards the engine, and that's because I believe the slam panel for the Skoda would normally have a intercooler in it as well, so it's all kind of sat back a bit and they've left room for the intercooler, whereas the RS3 doesn't have an intercooler on it, so it sits further backwards, and because of that the pack's not sitting flush. So this here should just be tucked under here. So you can see there's like an 1.5 inch gap where it's not sitting forward enough. It's all bolted up and in the correct position, it's just not sitting forward enough at the top, but it is at the bottom. The bottom is fine. And because of that, I'm hitting the alternator, and I've got like just over a centimetre gap here as well. So I am going to have to try and find a solution of getting the radiator pack further into the lock carrier so it all sits flush and I can do it up. I'm hoping it's not going to be a massive problem, so I am going to ignore it for the moment and just connect up our coolant pipes and our intercooler, try and get that on as well, and just see if we can run it up properly. This is also a problem. I don't know why, but the intake flat motor keeps ticking like that. It's really annoying. Ignition's not on or anything, I don't know what's doing that. I mean, it's on. It may fall off at any time, but I think we are going to have to make some alterations. Now with the cooling system now hopefully sealed, I'm just going to stick a load of water in for now. Obviously I'm not going to stick coolant in because we've got to drain it again to finesse everything. But I don't want the engine running without any coolant circulating, so I'm going to stick a couple more of these in. It's not tonic water, it is just water. Hopefully it doesn't come back out. And yeah, we can drive her out. Right, moment of truth, let's do this. Oh, very tense times. Right. I have bled the brakes, kind of, so I should have some sort of brake pedal, but back up, we do have a manual handbrake if it all goes Pete Tong, so come on, right, let's do this. Oh, right. Yeah, brakes aren't great, I'm not gonna lie actually. Oh! It's moving! I have no brakes, I have no brakes, neutral. Right, it's moving, but I have no brakes. I am going to have to sort that because, oh, it smells so good with no cat. Well, I'm just going to stop there quickly. I mean, it's so loud, I don't know if you even heard any of what I just said. We have moved, that is the good news. Bad news is, I did try and cheat. And I just tried to bleed the outer nipple on the caliper here, and that has not worked at all because I have no brakes whatsoever. Luckily, I do have that manual handbrake, but we have moved. We have moved about 20 foot. It drives, kind of. Now, I just need to sort the brakes out, and then we can go a little bit further. Now, to bleed the brakes, I always start with the corner furthest away from the master cylinder, and that is the near side rear, and we're going to bleed the brakes, just take all the air out of the system, and also we're going to use this opportunity to put the new RS3 alloys on as well, and then we go to the offside rear, and then over to the near side front, and finally the offside front. And remember, on the front calipers, we've got to bleed both sides of the caliper, and that was my problem that I didn't do the first time round, but hopefully this time we should get a pedal. So brakes all bled and the rear wheels are looking much better now they've got the RS3 alloys on. So let's have another go. Right, let's start in park this time. Get rid of that annoying noise. Right, brakes feel good. Honestly, it sounds like a rally car. We are moving with no power steering. Oh God. Brakes work though, that's the main thing. Oh God. We're unhanded. Whoa. We are moving. Come on. Oh, I don't know how long I should be running this for. Let's jump out. That's how loud it is. I'm about 40 foot away and you can still hear it clear as day. First drive complete. We have done 30 foot. I don't think the car's entirely happy. I don't blame it, but it kind of runs. It's not happy, but we have sort of done a first drive. Yeah, there's I don't know, actually it shouldn't be entirely not happy. There are maybe some wires that need adapting sensors. I mean, we are missing the intake. There are probably a few things that it's missing. Obviously it's got no CAT, so it's got no O2 sensors either, so that's not going to help it at all. And also it's got no exhaust, so there's no back pressure or anything like that, so all that's going to be going against it, so I don't really want to run it too much, but we have kind of got a first little drive. And also I've personalised the car a little bit further. We're not going to leave it on the original 68 plate because that is fairly boring. I have got myself a private plate for the VRS, and as you can see, look, ignore the W, but we've gone for 2.5 VRS, obviously meaning 2.5 VRS. I thought that was a pretty cool little plate to stick on the car. So they will be going on, and a big thanks to UMR Plates for supplying those. I'm going to leave a link in my description and give you a little discount code if you want to go grab some plates as well, guys. So massive thanks to UMR Plates for sorting out the plates for the VRS. They do free delivery and free sticky pads as well, which is very good because every time I buy plates, I always forget about the sticky pads, but luckily we have some here, so we are all good. Yeah, so I've just plugged the code reader in and it's not entirely happy. There's exhaust pressure control valve being I need to look at. Not too worried about those at the minute. That I'm not 100% worried about. The other thing I'm worried about is power relay de-energized, performance too late. Fuel pressure, that's because we've still got the Skoda in-tank fuel pump, which we need to completely swap out, and intake manifold stuck closed. So they're the ones that I need to really address before I really drive this any further. So, I mean, I probably could drive down the bottom and do a little bit more, but I don't want to break the engine, so I'm going to call it a day on the first drive there. In the next video, guys, we are going to obviously start addressing all those little issues. We're going to get the exhaust system done, and we're going to fix off the front end and get everything sort of bolted up, so it just then needs body panels, headlights, front bumper, etc. But I am happy with the progress. We've got the full cooling system, intercooler kind of like mocked up, nothing's leaking. Everything seems to be fine in that respect. Obviously, we just need to adjust the cooling pack, get it all fitted, and then we need to connect up the radiator fan. We need to sort out the steering as well, because I had no power steering because I haven't plugged it in. And we need to sort out the mess that's all this wiring loom, fix any niggling issues like that ticking noise, and then put all this back to factory spec, and then relocate the battery to the boot. So, that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. We are getting there with the VRS and it's coming along nicely, and yeah, it is now driving. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, go grab your tickets for the SVR as well, and I shall see you in the next video, which is I have no clue. So as always, guys, thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys. I did just manage to drive the car again, and I've parked it up over there, so I've actually done twice the distance that I thought. Come on.